So Islam Makhachev is going to be defending his lightweight belt against Arman Tsarukyan this weekend, and I just want to go over some of my predictions for this fight, some of the keys to victory, some strengths, weaknesses, all of that good stuff. So there's mainly three areas that I want to cover in this breakdown, and that being boxing range, kicking range, and clinch work. So with those three things, the first thing I want to talk about is the kicking range. So if you look at Arman Tsarukyan's kicks, they are fantastic. Arman Tsarukyan's kicks look like they shouldn't even be possible. Like that one that he landed on Charles Oliveira was just flawless, and we haven't really seen a lot of people for a long time be able to go in and kick like that in the UFC. So I think that is going to be a bit of a factor. Another thing is with his kicks is Islam is a southpaw and he's an orthodox, and I think the body kicks, if he can come up with a game plan where he can utilize the body kicks, it's right there because he's against a southpaw. So I think if he can just throw kicks to the body and mix it up to the head, I think that is going to be money in this fight. Another thing, Islam, he is a southpaw and he knows how to play this game against orthodox fighters, and he throws that body kicks a lot. So I think that's going to be pretty competitive, but his kicks are not as good as Arman's. So I think it should be interesting, but a couple holes in Arman's game when it comes to kicking is two things. He is a headhunter and he doesn't have lots of great setups for his kicks. So if you think about a lot of people in MMA who have good kicks, they usually have good setups and they can use some of their boxing and feints to set up kicks. Like that kick that Leon Edwards landed on Kamaru Usman, he set up with a 1-2, and Arman just doesn't do this. Arman doesn't set up his kicks properly, and I think that is going to be something that plays a factor in this game. Well, in this fight, rather, that's going to happen, is he just doesn't set the kicks up properly. Another thing is he hunts to the head too much. Like I said, with being a southpaw versus orthodox fight, that body kick isn't going to be there if he just refuses to throw it. So I think he's going to have to throw to the body and not target the head as much, and I just don't trust him to do that in that kicking game, unless he comes in with a perfect game plan. But have we seen Arman Tsarukyan really utilize the game plan? So I think that is going to be interesting. But if Arman can go in with a good game plan and actually follow it, I think that is going to be a big factor to play as the kicks. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the boxing range. I don't think this is going to be competitive at all in the boxing range. So if you just look at Islam Makhachev's boxing, he went in there against Dustin Poirier, who's been considered the best boxer in the UFC by a lot of people, and hands down the best boxer in the entire lightweight division. It's not even close. The only other person that you could argue is Conor, and we know how, Conor McGregor, and you know how that fight went. So there's just not, it's not going to be competitive in this realm against Arman. You see the counters that Islam was hitting on Volkanovski and a lot of other fights where he hit crazy counters, and you just like his unorthodox way of throwing punches and his head movement and his distance management is just, it's flawless, and his defense is just very good, and I don't think Arman is known for his boxing. He's not going to be able to go in there and get past his defense that effectively, so I think that he's going to absolutely smoke Arman in the boxing area, and I don't think it's going to be close. So not going to be that long of a breakdown in the boxing realm. It's just going to be Islam right there. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is the clinch game. Now, Islam's clinch game that we saw in that Dustin Poirier fight was amazing. Anytime he got close into like trade in the pocket, he'd grab the tie clinch, throw knees, and anytime he got tired, he'd grab a tie clinch and throw knees and take a little breather. So I think that is going to be a big factor in any Islam Makhachev fight that we watch. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor that plays. The only problem I would say that could happen, that we've seen happen in Islam's clinch game, is he can get held up against the cage a little bit. We saw that in the Dustin Poirier fight and the Volkanovski fight mostly, if you really look at the Volkanovski fight. But if you look at the actual damage that happens, Islam is ahead of everybody. He throws knees, and once you throw your own knee, he just sweeps you. So I think that that is going to be a big factor, is the clinch game, and I think that Islam is going to dominate that. So with that, my prediction coming in for this fight, I am going to pick Islam Makhachev to win this fight. I think a lot of people are going to also. I think it's just with those areas that I look at, I think that's the right pick. I don't think there's going to be a lot of grappling in this fight. It would shock me if there is. And if you go back and look at their first fight, it was neutralized against each other, except for that end part when Arman at the end was kind of getting held down, but that was because he kind of gassed out because he took the fight on short notice. But yeah, this should be an interesting fight, and yeah, I'm picking Islam Makhachev.